afternoon, everyone. It is Victoria Thomas in the training department. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm on a different sound system than I normally am, and hopefully everybody can see my screen as well. You should be able to see my Okta screen. If somebody could be nice enough just to let me know in the question panel that, yep, okay, cool, Sarah, thank you. Everybody is muted, so if you have any questions as we're going through this, feel free to type it in the panel, and I'll try and monitor those as I can, and if not, I'll come back to them at the end. So we're going to talk a little bit about the CRM today. I'm not going to go through like all of the basic setup things. I want to talk to you some about the making sure that you have automated the pieces that you can automate, kind of set and forget to keep in contact with your clients. And then I want to talk about just a couple of other pieces that maybe you have not explored yet that can also help you try to keep in contact with your clients better. The point of this is just sort of that, you know, getting your name in front of their face every month, or maybe you've really been wanting to, like, you know, you want to call your clients, but you don't have a good system for it. I'm going to show you a system that might work for that, and just kind of see what else anybody might have some questions about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. From my Okta home screen, I'm just going to click into the Tucker CRM. All right. So first things first, if you've had a class with the training department or agent development recently, this first little bit might be review for you. You already maybe have these pieces set up, but it never hurts just to kind of double check and make sure you've got everything kind of in place. So the very first thing that I am going to do is over on this left-hand side. So there's this blue menu. I can collapse it. I can expand it. I am going to go to this keep in touch section right here. And there's a couple of keep in touch events that have already been created. They are the birthday, the move-in anniversary, and then our monthly e-newsletter. I'm going to touch really quickly first on this birthday and move-in anniversary. The thing that you want to make sure that you have done with these pieces is just that you have turned them on, kind of. So you can see here, mine says birthday. I've got some contacts already assigned. It says that it's active, so it means that I've turned it on. If yours maybe says unactive or deactivated, this is a step that you would want to take. So I'm going to click just on birthday. And what it's going to say is at the very least, I'm going to tell it to include it in my calendar, and I automatically want to assign any contact that I put in my CRM. If they have their birthday, I want them to be on this birthday event. So at the minimum, those are the two that I'm going to click. If you want a reminder, if you want to set, if you're like a handwritten card person, snail mail it, maybe give yourself 7-10 days so that you can, get that around, get that out, put it in the mail. I'm probably not going to include that for myself, so I'm good just including it in my calendar and assigning anybody to the birthday event. You can also send like an auto e-card, but everybody gets so much email anyway. I think a text would be nicer than another piece of junk email, right? So, but up to you. If you make any changes to this, make sure you save it up in the top here. And then it's the exact same thing for the move-in anniversary. At the very minimum, I would include it in my calendar, and I would automatically assign contacts with a move-in date to the event. So it is something that I would have to remember to go back in once we've closed, go back into their contact card and add that move-in date or maybe the closing date. They're probably not going to remember exactly what day they move in, but add that date. But if I do that, they're going to be added to this move-in anniversary event. In this case, I have chosen to give myself a reminder 10 days before. That gives me time to maybe put together a market update, a quick CMA, give them a little bit of information of, hey, here's how much your property value has increased in the last year, or in the last 5 years, or the last 10 years. Maybe they've been there for a while and they're ready to, thinking about selling, or maybe this would be a good motivation to get them to sell. So in this case, I'm going to give myself a little bit more time. Maybe you would choose to do that as well. But at the very least, include it in your calendar, automatically assign contacts. Again, I'm just going to save. The last one on this page is the monthly e-newsletter. So same thing, you can see I've got it already active, but I'm going to click on this. This is the part where you can configure how and when you want the monthly e-newsletter to send. And the monthly e-newsletter is exactly what it sounds like. It's sent out every month, and we call it kind of like real estate light content. So it's created by the vendor. It's not specific to our area, but it is specific to kind of the real estate like market. Like, here's, 10 tips to get your home ready to sell, or here's the top, the hot new paint trends, or here's, curb appeal for the spring, blah, blah, blah. It's that kind of content. There's usually about 3 articles, and then like some quotes and things like that. There's like a little blurb at the beginning. It looks like you wrote it. It's like, hey, neighbor, blah, blah, blah. It's all branded to you. It's got your name on it, but this is where you can configure that. So I would choose send it every month. It lets you configure when you want to send it. So maybe like the first Tuesday of each month. I would recommend sending this a little bit more towards the beginning of the month, because the other piece, the market watch that we'll touch on, is sent mid-month. It's usually between like the 12th and the 17th, just depending on how soon we can get all of the data and everything from MyBor. So I would send the newsletter more towards the beginning of the month. As you can see, I've got mine sent the first Tuesday of each month to send at 10 a.m. I say yes, included in my calendar. I want a reminder sent a couple of days before, so that reminder comes via email from the vendor, and it says, hey, your monthly e-newsletter is set to send in 2 days. If I wanted to go look at it then at that time, I could. I usually don't, but I say included in my calendar, let me know. I would then make sure that you change your email subject to something that's a little punchier, maybe something that has your name in the subject title. Again, the point of this, we're not as concerned about what the content of the newsletter is. We're not as concerned even about the open rates of the newsletter. The point of this is that every month, your name is going to show up in their inbox with real estate or realtor, so it's Bruce, realtor, Will, realtor, Jenny, realtor, so that when they go to sell or go to buy, you are going to stay top of mind and you're going to be the one that they contact. Cool. I would include my email header. I would probably exclude my signature. It's a lot of like you and your contact information in one small space. So I would include my header, not my signature. And then absolutely make sure that you click these 4 boxes. We want to make sure that any way that a contact comes into the CRM, if they have an email address, they're going to be added to this event and they're going to get your monthly e-newsletter. Okay. If you have contacts that are already in the CRM, you're going to have to assign them to this. And this is where you can see my good friend Barack and my good friend Brittany have been assigned to this event. In order to do that, you just click this choose contacts who are participating. It gives you a search, gives you like a pretty fancy search here, but if I do simple search at the bottom, it just gives me the list of people. Can header be customized with personal branding? It absolutely can, Sarah, and if you want at the end, I can kind of go into that, or you can always contact me separately if you want all that info, but depending on how much time we are, I'll see if we have time to go into that. But yes, absolutely. In this case, I would search for my contacts, I would select them, I would say assign them to this event. If you are somebody who doesn't have contacts in here yet, you kind of get to start with a little bit of a cleaner slate because we're selecting all 4 of these. Anybody that you add moving forward, they have an email address, they will be added to this monthly e-newsletter event. And if you need help adding contacts or getting people on an event, you can always reach out to me. I can walk you through it. But if you make any changes to this, this is just more of like the configuration part. Make sure you save it. And I'm going to get this little pop-up. I'm going to say okay to it. Okay. So these are the 3, like I said, that are already standard. They're already on here. I'm going to go ahead and show you this piece, and then we'll go back to the monthly or the market watch. So you can also create your own event. So like I said, these are the 3 that the vendor kind of already auto-populates in here. But if you are like, I want to have, whether it's like an actual event, or think of it as like this is the birthday event. So it's not like really an event, right? But it's like the birthday event. You can create your own. So all I have to do is I click on this create new event kind of up here in the purple. And then what is it? I can give a description. If it's like an actual, date, time, place, thing, I can do that as well. But if I just want to have, like, maybe I have a group of people that I'm in some kind of club and I want to send them an email every month, or I just want to be reminded to do something every month or every quarter or something like that, right? Because like the birthday event, it's not really doing anything. It's basically just a reminder to you that you have a client with an event. And then however you choose to reach out to them, you can, whether it's Facebook, whether it's a phone call, a text message, a handwritten note card, whatever it is. It's just sort of a reminder to you. So if you have a group of people that have said, we're thinking about selling, and you just want to regularly keep in touch with them, you could create like almost like I wouldn't say a drip campaign, but almost some sort of like a campaign to keep in touch with them, whether it's every month or every quarter or something like that. So I could say, like getting ready to sell. And then I could say, yes, included in my calendar. I can create, if I want it to be reoccurring, I can choose a start, like a date, a start time, an end time, and then I can assign contacts to it. I can even create tasks for myself. So this might be the, call, let's say it like a phone call. I guess I have to set, can I say 0 days before the event? I just want like it to be the actual event. And the system will like set up and it'll remind me that I like need to make these phone calls. So you can create your own events in here. It's just kind of basically what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to hit cancel. I don't want to save this one, but I can create my own event. You can dive deeper into it. There's like a little question mark help guide here. It kind of like tells you all about it. There's even like quick little like tutorials that you can watch, but you can basically create your own events. The other thing that's kind of cool on this page is if you are somebody who wants to call your clients regularly, you can configure these keep in touch calls. And you can configure like everybody that's in your CRM. You can pick and choose the contacts that you want to be on this list. And so they already have, like, you can call them once a year. So maybe you have people that you just want to touch base with like once a year. You can put them on this one, maybe semi-annually, maybe quarterly, monthly, even like bi-weekly. That's like a lot of, talking to people, but you can set that up. So on this page, this is where you can configure these keep in touch calls. So let's say that I wanted to set up like a quarterly keep in touch. What do I want to be reminded of? Do I want it included in my calendar? Probably yes. I kind of live and die by my Google Calendar. So I want to include it in my calendar. Do I want to set a reminder? Probably not, because I'm going to see it on that specific day and call those people. Do I want to create a task? I could. I'm not going to include any of those. I'm just going to say include in my calendar that I need to call these certain people quarterly. So I'm going to save it. Now, you can see that there's still no contacts assigned to this quarterly keep in touch call. It didn't give me the option in that portion to assign the contacts. I'll show you how to assign contacts. So up here, so on the right-hand side of your screen, you should have your list of contacts. And by clicking this blue button, I can collapse or expand it. You can see all my people here. If I click the search button, it's going to give me, again, it's sort of this like fancy schmancy search criteria. If I had all of my people organized really well in like contact groups, I could search by contact groups, but maybe I just know there's just a certain couple of people I want to add to this. Again, I can click that simple search. It gives me everybody in my CRM. I'm going to include kind of some people that I know are fake. So Brittany and Barack, I selected them. I'm going to hit this purple select contacts. It's now given me a list of everybody that I had selected. So if I had selected, like 50 people, I would see them all here. This is just sort of like a once over to be like, yep, I have all of the correct people. I'm going to click this top box here to select all of them. I could pick and choose if I just like wanted Brittany and not Barack, but I want all of them. When I started selecting contacts, you'll notice that the select action drop-down menu like came to life. I'm going to click on it, and it basically is saying now, like, what do you want to do? So you have this, you've searched to these people, you've said these specific, I can't talk today, these specific contacts, what do you want to do with them? In this case, I want to assign them, I want to mass assign them to a keep in touch call. I hit the purple arrow to say move forward. And then, because I've already configured this, it's already set up, annual keep in touch call. When do I want to start this? No day like today. And for how long do I want to be reminded to call these people quarterly? Maybe just for a year. So let's say May of next year. If I wanted to, move it out further, I could. I'm going to say mass assign. It's going to give me a little message. It just says it could take a while if I have a lot of people, but I'm going to click OK. I only had 2, so it didn't take very long. Now I'll go back to the keep in touch section. And under the configure keep in touch calls, I selected annual. I meant to do the quarterly, but you get the point. Under the annual keep in touch call, I have 2 contacts assigned. If I click on that, anything that's purple, like you can click on. If I click on that, it shows me who they are. If for some reason, like I no longer needed to call the Obamas, every quarter or every year or whatever, I can take them off. I can even mass deactivate. So if I've had sort of like a campaign that I've been doing and I've been calling people every month or every quarter or whatever, and I've gotten some great business out of it, and maybe some of the other stuff has fizzled out, or somebody's been like, yeah, like stop calling me, we're not moving. If I wanted to just like cancel this whole like kind of calling campaign, I can mass deactivate everybody off of it and start over fresh. So like if I deactivate one, I click OK. Now you can see I just have the one left. It says 1 contact assigned. So this is pretty cool. Like just if you're somebody who, I know like Buffini is really big on the calling your clients regularly, picking up the phone, just checking in. If you need a system to sort of keep you on top of that, you can do that here. And then with this, sometimes, let's see if it'll do it for me. Yep, cool. So on the left here, I went to the task list now, and you can see that it's created it as a task, and it shows it as an incomplete task that I need to call her. And the fact that I did annual is probably not like the best example, but if it was, like monthly or quarterly, it shows up every time. And then sometimes, yep, on the dashboard, it will also show you that you have tasks to do. So if I click on this, well, I don't want to click on that. I can it shows me that I need to do it. If I've completed it, I can click where the little check mark is, and it says, are you sure you want to mark this task as completed? I would say yes. If I had done it, if I had called her, I can mark it off. I can even click here. You see that there's a little person, that's their contact card. So if I come into this, if I needed to grab her phone number, I can see it, which maybe I don't have a phone number in here for her, but I can see her contact information. It would log this. So again, I'm still in her contact card, and I clicked on this keep in touch tab, and it shows me everything that Brittany is assigned to. So she's getting my monthly e-newsletter. She's on my move-in anniversary event. You can see she's on my annual keep in touch call, and it would log all of this. So when I say, I'm going to go back to my dashboard, I say, yes, I've completed this. I've called Brittany. If I go look Brittany up and I go back to her card, it should show me. It might not yet. It might take a minute. But it would show like under history, like what I've done with her. It might just take it a minute to show up. And then I can even like inside her contact card. So if I just went to like one person, so if I met somebody at an open house and I came in here and I entered in their information, or I met them some other way. Meeting at an open house is maybe not the best example, but like I met them some other way. They were maybe referred to me and they're maybe not quite ready yet, but I want to add them on a call. I've added them into my CRM. I'm in their contact card. I can assign them to these various like keep in touch call events just from within the contact card. So you can see here, like right now she's on my annual keep in touch call. If I wanted to remove that, I hit deactivate. So let's say like I just met her, she's thinking about selling, but it's going to be a little while. So I want to call her like monthly. From right here in Brittany's contact card, under the monthly keep in touch call, I can activate it. I want to make the first call maybe next week, activate. And she's been added to that monthly keep in touch call. So again, on my task list, every month, I'm going to be reminded to call Brittany. I hope that's kind of cool. The other thing is if you have your Google Calendar synced with the CRM, those reminders will also show up on your Google Calendar. Because I know it can be annoying to try and check more than one place at a time, right? So if you're using your Google Calendar, it'll show up there as a reminder to call. Now you do have to come into the CRM and like check off that you've done the task. Otherwise, you'll log into the CRM and eventually you'll start seeing like past due tasks. But at the very least, like you'll see it on your phone. Oh, if I need to call her, give her a call, and then maybe you're just like, cleaning, doing some housekeeping stuff, come into the CRM, check it off. Yes, I've done it. Or if you're somebody who doesn't mind like seeing, because they turn red. I personally would hate that. I would hate logging into the CRM and like seeing red, like past due tasks. But I would just come into my task list. I would say that I've completed it, hit the little check mark. Have you completed it? Yep, I called her. Cool, it's done. Maybe. And then you'll see like the due date keeps changing. So like I've gone ahead a couple of months. So if I keep clicking, like there's for the next month and then the next month and then the next month. But I am just going to delete this because I don't want to be reminded to call Britney Spears. But you would not want to delete it. You would want to, keep it up. Oh, here, it's not going to let me delete it from here. If I mass delete it. No, I'm going to go unassign her. So I'm going to go here. You didn't see me do this. Deactivate it. I don't want to be reminded, but you would want to be reminded to, keep calling your client. Okay. So real quick, I'll show you. If you haven't, if you want to sync your CRM and your Google Calendar and you haven't yet, you just come up to the very top. It's the user profile. It's the little person in the circle, and you click on that. And then kind of on the left side, there are these synchronization services. You can see mine is syncing already, but if you don't have it synced, it will look like this. And it just says like, set up Google Sync, ? I click on that. You get kind of this scary stop sign, say yes. And then it asks you what account you want to sync. In this instance, I want to sync my Talk to Tucker. Say allow. And then I just want to sync my calendar, not my contacts. I know that kind of sounds like counterproductive, but I promise you, you don't want to sync your contacts because it's a two-way street and it gets very, very messy. So I just want to sync my calendar. I'm going to sync it to me. I hit save, and then you can see here, it syncs every 2 hours. I can make it do it manually. I can hit, sync now. And then let me see if I can find an example. Maybe, here's an example. So here's my Google Calendar, and hopefully everybody can see that. You can see here on, what is this, June 30th, where it says birthday, and then it says Birdie, Jordan. This is my friend Jordan's birthday. This is coming directly from the CRM. So anything that you create, any of those like quote unquote tasks that you could create, so this is the birthday or event. I'm sorry, not a task, an event. So this is the birthday event because it's synced to my Google Calendar. It shows up here. It's the same thing with like those move-in anniversaries. It'll show up on your Google Calendar. Any other event, quote unquote, that you create would show up here. Any of those keep in touch calls that you configure will show up here. So that's why it's nice that you don't have to go into the CRM and check like the task list if you have it synced to your calendar. And like I said, I would rather check like just my calendar and then, go in, clean up my CRM later, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the CRM. The other piece in here that I want to make sure that everybody has turned on, so over on this left-hand side, I'm going to go to mass email. And up at the top, I'm going to go to this last tab. It's the broker email tab. You just want to make sure that you've turned it on. So I want to say yes. And then it says all contacts or your monthly e-newsletter contacts. I think that those should be the same thing. Anybody who's in your CRM that has an email address should be getting your monthly e-newsletter. So say all contacts and save it. And then that just turns on the Market Watch. So where the monthly e-newsletter is sort of just that like fluffy, light real estate content, the Market Watch, of course, is what Tucker puts together. Jim writes the foreword to it. And it's all the statistical data for our market in central Indiana. It's got that really pretty graphic, that marketing makes, and then has some links to usually like a blog post that's current and to the full Market Watch if they want to like read through, if you want to see like all of that data and read like the whole piece to it. Okay. You can even kind of go in a little bit more with the activity plans, and I'm not going to get into those really deep today, but just also know that they exist. So over on this left, I'm going to click on activity plans. There's kind of two sides to activity plans. One is a marketing plan, and you can assign these to people. So again, like this one is basically like a drip campaign. It's like a 2-year drip campaign for a first-time buyer who's currently renting. So you're targeting somebody, who's currently renting, and you think that you would eventually want to help them buy. So the marketing plans are, again, like targeted towards people. And then there's also listing and closing plans, and these are targeted towards addresses. So once we know the address that we want to list or the home that we want to buy, you can assign these activity plans to those as well. They're pretty detailed. There's a lot of steps in them. The listing plans are as detailed as turn in your paperwork and put the sign in the yard to, making sure that you've set up the photographer and all of those pieces. So you can edit them though, like these are pretty heavy. The marketing plans though, a lot of it is just like a drip email. There are some actual like snail mail pieces in here that you can print out and mail to your clients or your prospective clients as well. So I'm not going to go in really deep into these today. If that's something that you're interested in, I can always help with that as well. But I just wanted to show you that along with the pieces that already exist in here, you can create your own events. And then we don't usually talk much about these keep in touch calls. And I think that they can be really, really helpful as well. And then it's just a piece that people are not utilizing as much that I think that they could be. So those are kind of the like, turn it on, set it, forget it, and then here are some other things that you can do to kind of like personalize your communication with your clients. So I'm right at 30 minutes. What questions does anybody have? I don't see anything else rolling in. So let's see. Yep, Sarah is still on. So really quick, I will show you. She had asked about customizing like the monthly e-newsletter and things like that. Up in the very upper right-hand corner there under this user profile, this is where you set up your email header and signature. Under header, there are two different styles. There's the standard header and then there's a custom header. The standard header is kind of but it's okay for what it is. It would have your contact information here. You can upload a photo and it sits right here. So I should probably do this. I should upload my headshot here. And then you can also upload a logo. So if you wanted to put the T, or maybe you have a team logo, it would go right here. So pretty simple, right? Pretty standard. Under the custom header setup, it's just this giant big white box that kind of says like, you can do whatever you want to do. And one of those things is that you can upload an image. So I just click on insert image. Probably wouldn't want this to be my header, but I'll show you. I would click upload, navigate to wherever on my computer. I have that saved. So if you ask marketing like to create you a custom header, they could do it. And then I would just go to wherever it's saved. I would upload it, and then I kind of have this little like library of images. I would click on it. I would hit insert, and then it would be in here. I would want to make sure that I have custom header selected up here at the top, because this is what feeds into anything that I create. So this is sort of the back end setup that's going to feed into those other pieces. I hit custom header, I hit save. I then would want to come back over to my keep in touch for the monthly e-newsletter. And is it going to make me, nope, it's not even going to make me do it. I just say include that email header, because I told the system already that I want to use the custom header. It's going to include the custom header here. I just wanted to make sure it didn't give me options, and it does not. For the Market Watch, Sarah, not as much. Let me see if I can find an example to show you of the Market Watch. I always forget where it lives. Oh, sorry if anybody heard that. Gary's trying to call me. Let's see. If I go in here, yeah, here. So the Market Watch, yeah, right here. So I can include my email header. And then I can even like send myself a preview. It's not as nice, like it's not as easy, it's not quite as easy to configure as the monthly e-newsletter cancel, but I can include my email header if I wanted to. So, but I wouldn't stress about it with like the Market Watch, because it's so already branded to Tucker. But yes, you can. Cool. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Like I said, I'm here if you need help getting contacts into the CRM, you want to make sure you have everything set up. Anything else, feel free to reach out, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Thanks for joining me.